What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JBsports back again with another one. Ran across an interesting article about YouTube sensation and undefeated boxer Jake Paul. You know them Paul brothers, man, they're making a lot of noise in the sport of boxing, man. But Jake Paul had an interesting comment in regard to the confrontation he had with this era's greatest fighter, Floyd Mayweather Jr, aka TBE, aka Money May. You know, during the Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather Jr press conference, Jake Paul ran up on Floyd Mayweather Jr, basically told him to call Al Heyman and let's make the fight happen if he's successful against his brother, Logan Paul. Floyd Mayweather, well, you know, Mayweather Jr responded and said, look here, man, I'm my own boss. I don't need to call nobody to make nothing happen. He basically told Leonard, he said, hey, Leonard, he said, go on, get a contract ready for this bum, and we can sure enough make it happen. And basically, Jake Paul was basically setting the stage to take Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s hat. He had no intention on signing no contract or really fighting Floyd Mayweather Jr. after he fights his brother Logan Paul. As he already know, he fought Tyron Woodley. I don't believe that fight was done at that time. That fight might have already been done, but he had no intentions of actually fighting Floyd Mayweather Jr. after his next fight. Let me just put it to you like that. So he was just basically trying to get a confrontation where he could steal his hat. Now Jake Paul has come out in this article and said that Floyd Mayweather Jr. basically put a hit out on him. Basically put a contract out on his life. Is basically what Jake Paul is insinuating in this article. Basically said that Floyd Mayweather Jr. was gonna get some thugs, some members of his entourage to basically eliminate Jake Paul. Now he didn't use the word, Jake Paul did not use the word that he said he wanted him killed, but he basically said he wanted something done to Jake Paul. Basically is what Jake Paul is saying. He's saying that Floyd Mayweather communicated to his thugs, as Jake Paul would say. He communicated to them to get something done with Jake Paul because he felt so disrespected about Jake Paul stealing his cap, taking his cap. I think they was able to get the cap back as his security team, bodyguards, whatever you want to call it. They basically beat down Jake Paul. He got jumped and beat down. His brother Logan Paul tried to come over there and help, but he got jacked up against the wall and it wasn't enough hands on deck to combat all the people Floyd had. Floyd got a big bodyguard team with him at all times. So he's walking around here like Donald Trump with all these bodyguards, or the president with all this Secret Service. You know what I'm saying? He got that many people. You know, he's got multiple people, more than enough people to make sure if something jump off, that stuff gonna get taken care of. There's not gonna be a hair touched on his body, not a finger touched on him. And that's why he's able to maneuver around. You know, you don't see other boxers doing that. You know, you ain't never see Mike Tyson walk around with all these bodyguards. You never seen Muhammad Ali walk around with all these bodyguards. And Muhammad Ali was much more famous than Floyd Mayweather is. Floyd Mayweather is a household name, make no mistake about it, but he wasn't on that international household name like Muhammad Ali was when he was running the heavyweight divisions in the mid to late 70s. So we will see what happens and we will see what transpires. I don't believe Floyd Mayweather Jr. was actually wanting Jake Paul to be eliminated. I don't think he put a hit out on Jake Paul, but I do believe Floyd Mayweather Jr. wanted payback for Jake Paul's taking his hat. And I basically believe that Floyd Mayweather Jr. wanted Jake Paul jumped and beat down. Maybe have some bruised ribs or maybe even some broken ribs, some black eyes. He definitely wanted him to get beat down and taught a lesson. But for Jake Paul to come out here in his article and basically insinuate that Floyd Mayweather Jr. wanted him killed, is very irresponsible for Jake Paul to say that. Very, very irresponsible, man. That's a hell of a claim to put on a man, saying that he basically put a contract out on your life. And if that is the case and you still living, you need to take proper measures to take care of that. You know, you can take it however you want. To take this statement I just made, because somebody put a contract out on my life, and if I believe that's the case, it's I believe in an old eye for eye. You know what I'm saying? I get you before you get me. So Jake Paul, I think he's basically selling some wolf tickets. I don't think that was the case, but I do believe Floyd Mayweather Jr. wanted payback. He wanted him to get beat down. He wanted him to take more of a beating than he got at that Floyd Mayweather-Logan Paul press conference. That's for sure. That was just a little small jump that his bodyguards did. They jumped on him and basically retrieved the hat, and they kind of, I think he had like a little spilling under his eye, a little black eye in the altercation, but he didn't take no beating. I think Floyd Mayweather Jr. wanted a beat down, damn near hospital, going to the hospital, going to the ICU unit type of beat down. That's what I think Floyd Mayweather Jr. wanted. But to this day, Jake Paul hasn't had any kind of altercation with Floyd Mayweather's team, so I think a lot of this here is a lot of exaggeration. There's a lot of, to keep Jake Paul's name in the headline news. You know, before this article came out, Jake Paul was saying that he's probably going to be fighting a boxer next. Tommy Fury is the front runner for the fight to take place, probably in the first quarter of 2022. And this is something to basically keep Jake Paul's name hot in the news media. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But a very, very interesting article, man. I'm surprised this ain't got more attention than it has got, man. I kind of ran across it on my phone, but I don't believe it's nothing to it. I believe that Jake Paul needs to keep his hands off other people's things, quit trying to steal somebody's head and trying to make it a meme, stuff like that, man, because you can mess around there and get your chest caved in doing stuff like that. You do that to the wrong type of person, man. So he needs to be very, very, very careful when he's trying to do things to promote himself and get his name in the headline news. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Hit the like button if you like the content of this video, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend, and I'll holler.